I'm going to release tonight. I have a special person in the house that I want to recognize tonight. And this person is going to come up and take a minute to just talk about what this organization is now doing. 2 or 3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes? All right. And then I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Cherie Good is in the house. Dr. Cherie Good, she is doing the red carpet announcements. She's a 10-time best-selling author, guys. You guys give it up because this protection is going somewhere. It's going somewhere. It's going somewhere. 10-time best-selling author. She's going to be on the red carpet. I want you guys to meet her there because I want to know what you got. I want to know what your feelings were, what showed up for you, and I want to know what you're going to say about your next generation of how we inspire. My organization is called Inspiring Generations, and it's a direct outlet because of the stage play, showing the stage play and sharing with everybody about what the stage play is. And some women and men would say, well, what's next? I didn't have a next. So as a result of that, I put together a workshop that's called Speak Up and Speak Out, and it's geared just for what I just did. Went through trauma, wrote it down, and decided to make a change. But it was difficult, hard, and in a Black community, being a Black woman, it's difficult to go out and do that and not seem like a bitter Black woman. So I don't know what to draw the record. And so as a result of that, I kept pushing through it, and then you saw the Dub Dutch for that, right? And so this organization has been near and dear to my heart. I've pretty much probably called them several times and just didn't think my idea was good enough, to be actually honest. And finally, I reached back out to them, and I got involved with their Intimate Partner Violence program, and Inspiring Generation has came up. I would like to have some workshops that come up in the next 3 months, and I'm asking you to just donate to my organization. And donating to this organization, you'll help other women inspire their generations to help our kids know what domestic violence looks like. Definitely started somewhere, right? And so as a result of that, this woman is going to come up. Her name is Angel Campbell, and she's with Maryland Network Against Domestic Violence. Angel Campbell, please, 2 or 3 minutes. Greet everybody. Phenomenal organization on the Maryland level, you guys.
Hi, everyone. It still feels so weird to see everybody's faces. I'm used to talking to a computer screen. But for the next few minutes, before I get started, I want to just extend a special thank you to Miss Garner for inviting me out here to this amazing event. I'm so happy to be a part of it, and I think it's so amazing the work that she's doing. I'm going to talk to you about something that is often silenced due to how difficult it can be to talk about. Domestic violence is a pattern of abusive behavior in any relationship that is used by one partner to gain and maintain power and control over another intimate partner. When we think of domestic violence, a lot of times we think of broken bones and bruises. But this does happen, and it's absolutely horrifying when it does. But power and control comes in various forms, and it can happen to absolutely anybody. Domestic violence victims are found in all socioeconomic levels and varying experiences of education, race, culture, gender, sexual orientation, physical and mental abilities, and different age groups. And on average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. By the time that I end this speech, statistically speaking, nearly 100 people would have experienced physical abuse. That is probably the entire room here. Just imagine how high that number would be if the statistic included all tactics of abuse. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner throughout their lifetime. And a staggering 54% of trans and non-binary individuals have experienced intimate partner violence. We often like to think that bad things don't happen here. They don't happen in our communities, in our groups, but unfortunately, that's completely false. Each year at the Maryland Network Against Domestic Violence, we track the numbers of fatality caused by intimate partner violence. In 2020, we saw a drastic increase in fatalities compared to the previous years. The highest number since 2007, actually, and we had 56 lives lost. In 2021, that number only grew. Between January 1st and December 31st, 2021, a staggering 58 Marylanders lost their lives due to intimate partner violence. 47 children under the age of 18 were left without one or both of their parents due to intimate partner violence. The majority of the victims were women, at 92%, and the ages of the victims ranged between 6 years old and 72 years old. Black women accounted for 60% of the intimate partner homicides in 2021. And for context, Black women only make up 15% of Maryland's population. So they're being murdered at a time 4 times their rate in the population of Maryland. So gun violence is on the rise, and it contributed to many of this year's deaths. 100% of abusive partners were murdered by a gun, and 76% of domestic violence victims in 2021 were killed with a gun. The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic may be worsening the risk of lethality in intimate partner violence scenarios. Spikes in homicide this year correlate to increased COVID restrictions, which researchers refer to as COVID stress. Research also shows that domestic violence calls to police shelters have risen between 6 and 21%, depending on where you live. And the highest numbers of increase was during that first 5 weeks of the pandemic when we had the stay-at-home order. Turnaround, which is a crisis response and victim service agency for survivors of domestic violence in Baltimore, actually did a news report on this, and they said that their services have increased 300% since the beginning of COVID. All volume for emergency shelter is up more than 200%, and calls are up by 138% for individuals seeking therapy and emergency assistance due to domestic violence. Many victims who lost their lives had interactions with the justice system prior to their death, yet there were many, or just as many, who were in need of help but had nowhere to turn. All of these people could have been helped, but we were unable to. We hope to build a Maryland where that is no longer the case. We imagine a Maryland free of violence. What can you do? Well, I'm glad you all asked. Listen to them. When somebody tells you that they're experiencing domestic violence, you might not even necessarily need to have the right words. Just knowing that someone is there for you and willing to listen makes a huge difference. Validate them. Tell them that you're sorry this happened, that you believe them, and it's not their fault, that you hear them. You might be the first person that they're talking to, and the way that you respond can make a huge difference on their healing process. Ask them what you could do for help. They know their life and their situation best. Maybe all they need is somebody to listen. Maybe they need to store a set of clothes for an emergency. Maybe they just need somebody to tell them it wasn't their fault. They know what's going to happen. They know their life best. They know what's going to happen. Listen to them. And most importantly, don't judge. They may not be ready to leave the relationship. They might just need to talk. It's important to understand that survivors stay for various reasons. It's ranging from safety for themselves, their children, their loved ones, maybe not being able to financially afford it, or even being in love with this person and hoping that they'll change. So again, I want to thank Ms. Garner for putting this on and having me here, because this is a serious issue that does not get talked about enough. Thank you.